Hi, Ladna. Just doing an audio check. Yes, thank you so much.
So much, Christy.
Hi, Ladna. We had an issue on our end, so I just need to test audio again. Can you hear me? Th- yes, thank you so much.
Session with
Thank you so much. We will. Hi, Les. I'm just testing audio. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. It's my privilege to call us to order, and we'll start with the roll call, which is different than our agenda. Sorry, I'm just noticing that. Okay, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance because that's what we're expected to do. So please join me. Our flag is back there. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag
of the
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now we'll do roll call. Yeah, good.
Director Andrade,
Here.
Director Hodges,
Here.
Director Rosen,
Here.
Director Hatcher,
Here.
President Lamnon.
I am here.
Thank you.
And our closed session, the board authorized beginning negotiations regarding the SkyWest properties, authorized our general manager to begin negotiations. So that's that. And now we get to our public comments. So I have
Actually, we have oral
okay,
communications.
sorry, I'm reading too many things at the same time tonight. I apologize. Thank you. Go ahead. Who's doing the oral communications piece?
Changing the speakers.
There's two items. One is the video and one is the proclamation, right?
Yes,
So who's doing what? One is
we're doing the video first.
Jennifer Arias, HR manager.
Can we push it? Okay, I'll say what Jim said. So good evening. My name is Jennifer Arias, HR analyst here at the district. So I'd like to share a short video that was created in collaboration with the district's employees. Following this, we'll also be showcasing it on the district's employment webpage. So enjoy.
I'm hearing positive comments from my colleagues up here. Congratulations, that's really well done. Thank you. We all certainly want to work here. Great job. Thank you.
Okay, second night. Has it worked yet?
Have we released it yet?
We haven't released the video yet. We thought we would make it, share it with you, make sure that you didn't go, oh my gosh, who's that flounder in the first 2 minutes? So since it seems to be okay, we'll start to utilize it. Although unfortunately, we made this before we hit like this less than 2% vacancy rate for 160 employees. So we'll need it sometime.
Certainly. All right. Well, congratulations to all. And thank you. All right, we will move on to our special proclamation.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Directors. Nicole Espinoza-Roa, Public Information Officer and Assistant to the General Manager. As you're aware, April 5th through the 11th is Special District Weeks. And with that, we'll go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas special districts are local governmental entities created by a community residents, funded by those residents, and overseen by those residents to provide specialized services and infrastructure. And whereas today, just over 2,000 independent special districts provide millions of Californians with essential services, including services related to water, sanitation, and water recycling, fire protection, electricity, parks and recreation, healthcare, open space, ports and harbors, flood protection, mosquito abatement, cemeteries, resource conservation, airports, transit, road maintenance, veterans facilities, and more. And whereas in the 20th century, special districts increased dramatically in both number and scope, and during the periods of prosperity and population growth that followed both world wars, when the demand for all types of public services increased and special districts met that need. And whereas fire protection districts can trace their origins to 1923 state law, and in 1931, the legislature authorized recreation districts, the forerunners of today's recreation and park districts. And whereas, although originally created to provide individual services, in 1961, the legislature authorized special districts to address multiple needs when to provide for multi-purpose community service districts, and whereas special districts vary in size and scope and serve diverse communities throughout California, from small rural neighborhoods such as the Pine Cove Water District in the Jacinto Mountains of the County of Riverside to large urban regions such as the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District spanning much of the Alameda County. And whereas local residents own special districts and govern them locally, elected or appointed boards, a series of sunshine laws ensure special districts remain transparent and accountable to the communities they serve, as these laws require open and public meetings, public access to records, regular audits, online posting of finances and compensation, and more. And whereas in 1969, several independent special districts formed a statewide association called the California Special Districts Association, commonly referred to as CSDA, to promote good governance and improved essential local services through professional development, advocacy, and other services for all types of independent special districts. And whereas the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District seeks to promote dramatic institutions, community-based services, local control, and self-determination. And whereas the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District seeks to promote, educate the public about their local public service providers, including awareness and understandings of special districts. Now, therefore, let it be resolved by the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District that the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District hereby joins the California State Legislature in proclaiming the week of April 5th through the 11th of 2026 inclusive to be Special Districts Week, and encourages all residents to be involved in their community and to be civilly engaged with their local government.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And congratulations to us all for Special Districts Week.
So I'd like to present you, Board of Directors, this beautiful proclamation proclaiming that this is California Special Districts Week. We will all be, some of us will be at Special District Association legislation days for next 2 days, speaking to our electeds about how they can support some of us.
Absolutely. All
I
right.
just want to comment on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim, for mentioning legislates, because I think to the general public, it's something that when we go to our legislators, a lot of them aren't quite aware of special districts. And so it's really our job also to educate them of who and what we are, and the enormity of what we provide for services. So.
I think it's even more interesting now that the federal government is actually recognizing special districts for the first time. Our association, along with 7 other states, kind of lobbied in Washington, and we're going to get recognized. If you recall, during the pandemic, I think the county got 254 and the city got 128 million, and we got nothing because special districts weren't recognized by the federal legislature. So we competed with 100 million and got 1 million, I think, after losing like 4.5. So advocating for the association, advocating for us federally can only make it better for our communities.
Yep. And so several of us will be in Sacramento this week doing just that. All right. Well, thank you very much and congratulations to all. Friendly reminder, as was just demonstrated very well, this session is being translated. And so what was demonstrated well was speaking at a moderate pace, enunciating clearly, and speaking directly into the microphone. That helps our translators immensely. So I have 3 in person, and do we have online public comments as well?
We do not have anyone online for public comment.
Okay, so I will take these in the order they were received. So Millicent Crawford. And it's on.
Do I need to?
Nope, you're already live.
Okay. Good evening. My name's Millie. I live directly across the street from Parsons Park. I'd like to express my opposition to the addition of a bathroom based on planning consistency, neighborhood impacts, and the process that HARD has been using to get here. First, the proposed bathroom is inconsistent with the park's current designation under the Castro Valley General Plan. Parsons Park is a local park intended to serve residents within roughly a quarter to a half a mile radius with low intensity passive uses. Importantly, these local parks typically do not include amenities like restrooms. Those features are more appropriate for community parks, which have more intensive development and are designed for this development, including having parking and broader regional access. Putting in a bathroom here would change the character and the use of the park, making it a high-intensity facility without the infrastructure to support that change. The park does not have a dedicated parking lot. Adding a restroom is likely to increase visitation beyond the immediate neighborhood, which in turn would create parking congestion, increased traffic, and higher noise levels on our residential streets. These are not minor impacts for those of us who live in the neighborhood. And as far as I know, an EIR has not been performed to rezone this park within the general plan. Also, I understand that some prior outreach was conducted and some form of input has already been gathered about this project. But my family, despite living across from the park, had not been notified or included in that process. For a decision that really impacts the immediate neighbors, notification is essential to us. All of this really raises concerns for me about whether HARD is performing good faith outreach for this project. I'd urge HARD to consider whether a bathroom could be more appropriately located elsewhere. If a restroom is really needed, it would make more sense to put it in a park that has the existing infrastructure and facilities to handle that. In closing, I respectfully ask that you reconsider adding a bathroom at Parsons Park, or at a minimum, pause the decision to ensure that there's proper community output. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Brett Crawford.
Brought a visual aid, so bear with me for a second. Okay. Good evening, members of the board and district staff. My name is Brett Crawford, husband of Millie, and together with Millie and the 2 kids, we reside across the street from Parsons Park on 17552 Walnut Road. We sit directly across from Parsons Park. And last night I took a photo of what our wonderful view is across from Parsons Park. I don't want to hide my face too much, so I'll put this here. And of course, like my wife, I also oppose the addition of a restroom in its entirety in Parsons Park. As Amelia already discussed, both hard zone facility inventories and our general plan in Castro Valley explicitly classifies Parsons Park as a local park, and as legally defined for use as immediate neighbors, short visits, and informal play within the quarter-mile and half-mile radius. So local parks are intentionally built with major amenities and restrooms to keep them as low-traffic, short-stay neighborhood amenities rather than these destination parks. It serves as a magnet for outside traffic. As Millie said, extended use creates the exact security and nuisance issues that a direct-facing residents like us will have to bear. And under our California land use law, public projects must be consistent with the adopted general plan. As I stated, the Castro Valley General Plan explicitly defines Parsons Park as a local park. And by proposing a restroom, we are introducing a destination level amenity that contradicts the fundamental design intent. How is the district legally justifying this park when it appears wildly inconsistent with the general plan's definition of a local park? Second, even if this board intends to move forward over the neighborhood objections, the currently proposed location is entirely unacceptable. Recently, survey markings appeared directly across from our home, and to date, the immediate neighbors have received absolutely no formal notification, zero consultation. As Millie said, we saw a QR code for a vote at one point, but nothing since then. And zero preliminary site plans regarding this project. Placing a bathroom structure at this specific footprint threatens to completely obstruct the primary view of our property and our neighbors. I lost my point here. And the view that was a major factor in purchasing our home. This will significantly damage our property value and our daily quality of life. So I've printed out a picture of what I understand is the proposed bathroom, which is a Portland Loo bathroom. And just so you can see for dramatic effect, literally right in front of our home is where these markings are. Furthermore, we are concerned about the lack of environmental review and transparency. We're formally requesting all CEQA documentation regarding this installation. A project that changes the usage patterns of a quiet neighborhood park cannot be quietly pushed through. The unusual circumstances of placing a high traffic facility in an area specifically designed to lack one requires thorough environmental and community review. We request that the Board of District staff to halt further planning at Parsons Park immediately. We request an on-site neighborhood meeting with the project manager and architect to discuss the necessity of this project and the severe impacts of the proposed sitting. Please do not finalize any plans or put this out for construction bids until the taxpayers who actually live next to this park are heard. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Ruth Schneider?
I'm Ruth Schneider. I live on the corner of Proctor and Walnut by the park. And I moved in 1990, and I plan on living there hopefully another 30 years. And I was involved with all the planning of the meeting of the park. But anyway, let me read. It says, I was involved with all my neighbors in planning of this park. A lot of promises were made that were not kept. First of all, no bathrooms was a big factor in building the park. Nobody in my neighborhood wanted a park there. And it's beautiful, but it has so many problems that I'm sure you guys are not aware of. Although in that survey, we did write about all those things. I'll mention them again because I feel like we were not heard at all. So the gates were supposed to be locked, and they locked them for a few months, and now they're broken. They don't close. When I walk there 2 and 3 times a day, I close the thing and I have to twist it kind of tight to make it close. And they've never fixed it. I've complained about that before. So this week or last night at 10:30, there was kids yelling. I work really early, so I go to bed early. So I had to listen to these kids screaming in the park. And yes, I've called the police, but that's a whole different story. And that would happen 4 times this week, being that spring break, and it happens all summer. I have to close my windows. There's no parking on busy weekends. Parties and a toilet would increase the crowds. I walk and I pick up trash daily. There will be more trash with the crowds. I drove by the community center this morning and I was shocked to see the garbage overflowing, bags and bags of garbage against trees all over the lawn. So that was kind of a reminder of what would come with restrooms this morning. Yeah, it was 9 o'clock after I went to the airport. Yeah. the holes for the garbage are this big, so any pizza box or to-go food, people just set them on top. I actually squish them up and put them in the garbage. The community center bathroom is 1 minute drive away. If you want a bathroom, you can go down there. It's an empty park, just as ours is on certain days when it's really hot, because I drive by that every day. The neighbors that I represent said that the decision to put a bathroom was made before this vote went out, and that's what we firmly believe, because I have called every month since the vote, and I've asked for a call back. The last time I was transferred to a lady who I was told was in charge of the park, and I finally talked to someone, which was shocking because I only leave messages. And she said, "Oh no, we're just working on elevations." That's, I don't know her name, I wrote it down, but that's what she told me. This week I talked to the assistant of the general manager and I asked for a call back, but I've never gotten a call back. So that's just what I expect, I guess. And so you can imagine my shock this week when I saw the lines for that bathroom. The lines that were drawn out were 25 feet. First of all, if it's a single stall bathroom, why is it a 25-foot spot for the lines, or 20 feet? I can't remember. So I'm just saying, please keep the promise that there's going to be no restrooms in that park. And we did not want the park in the first place.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for doing cleanup work in the community. We always need everybody to help with that. Because this is not an agenda item, we cannot actually comment this evening, but we appreciate your input. I saw our staff taking notes, and I'm sure there will be follow-up, and we know that we have your contact information from the public comments. So thank you. Are there any other public comments at the moment?
There are no public comments online.
Okay, thank you. With that, you're of course welcome to stay, and we're going to go ahead with our meeting at this point. Our next item is the consent calendar. These are items 9.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Are there any that need to be pulled for any reason? Seeing and nothing online about that. Okay, in which case I will take a motion.
Madam President, I'll move the entire consent calendar.
Thank you. And do I have a second? Okay. Thank you, Director Hodges. And so we have a motion from Director Hatcher, a second from Director Hodges. If there's no other discussion, we will vote. There we go. You did. Okay, great. All right. And it's not showing. Do you want to read it?
Yes, so motion passes with 5 ayes.
Thank you. Our next item is a written communication.
Okay. Good evening, President Lamnin, Board of Directors, James Wheeler, General Manager. We received a letter from the Alameda County Parks, Recreation, and Historical Commission in their support of developing or saving SkyWest. As you know, the movement to save SkyWest is kind of been on since the airport and the golf course ended, and they started thinking about what would the reuse be. There have been iterations of plans, some light industrial, some runway airport zone expansion. We left the golf course because we could not, we wouldn't be able to use the clubhouse in another year or so when they expand the runway and increase the size of those flights. So we got out. These people and many people in the community are supporting the eastern portion of the western portion of SkyWest on the other side of the airport safety zone on the far end away from Kennedy Park, where it connects to San Lorenzo Community Park, utilizing that for public open space. And this evening, this letter's wish came true in stage 1, because you gave me permission to negotiate with the airport authority and the city of Hayward to try to turn that into a 60-acre open space for the district and the community in San Lorenzo and the rest of the district. So We wanted to share the letter we got. Anytime we get a letter addressed to us, we share with you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Madam President.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a quick question. Are we going to respond to James Farley and the PRHC or just,
I responded to their staff person.
okay,
We were surprised to get this letter. The Board of Supervisors got a letter. The City Council got a letter. We monitor, we go to that meeting, we monitor that meeting. We are their park and recreation service provider, and we were a little surprised just to get a letter. So I called and said, we would love to discuss this with you. Here's where we are. Told that to the staff person. I think they know where the situation stands now.
All right, thank you. Moving on to new business, design contract for ADA small projects.
Good evening, Honorable Board. Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. So this evening, the board will consider approval of a design services contract with CSW S2 for the ADA Small Projects Phase 3 project. And Brian, are you going to present?
Yes, I'll have a quick presentation for you. And I plugged in there and there it is. Okay, now I do this.
That one of our parks, that was that thing?
Yeah, that was, yeah, it's one of our dry parks, very dry. Good evening, Brian Lasco, Assistant Director, Capital Planning Development. Before you tonight, we have a contract for the third phase of our ADA Small Projects initiative. We're focusing this time on the area around Douglas Morrison Theater. And we put out an RFP in February of this year with up to 5 civil engineering firms. We received 2 proposals back. The project goal is first and foremost is to deal with the kind of ADA compliance issues around the DMT and the DMT lot. I think we're all fairly familiar with that. But an important second part of the project is that the fact that, as you heard earlier in our study session, this is a critical link in our development of our Foothill Trail. And so what you see here, this is a part of the presentation that you saw earlier. I put a red box around the area of that is the general scope for this project. So you can see that it's a key part right in the middle of another Foothill Trail initiative. And so this is a diagram that I produced for a simple diagram that I produced for the RFP. And you can see there's the bridge that we had heard about from my colleague Michael Williams that's crossing Coyote Creek, coming down along the side of the DMT parking lot, and then crossing the street and running in front of the gravel lot, and then connecting to the new Crescent Trail, Crescent. That's another word. Crescent Grove Trail thing along San Lorenzo Creek. This is a particularly involved process because it involves civil engineering design in 2 right-of-ways. And the most complicated part of this project will be that we have to deal with both Alameda County and the city of Hayward, because half of the project is in one and half of the project is in the other. So, and so the staff recommendation is staff recommends that the board of directors by motion approve the professional design contract for not to exceed amount of $102,461 with CSWST2 for the ADA Small Projects Phase 3 project.
Thank you. And did you want to talk about the Hillcrest Knolls?
Oh, thank
briefly?
you. Yes. And then what we did is we were asked to expand the scope of the project because of a similar ADA concerns that had been raised. Thank you for raising that, President. It's a small parking lot at Hillcrest Knolls near the Fairmont campus. And it will do the same scope, which is to bring that small parking lot and its connections to the park into ADA compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. It's all a team effort.
Wait,
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
half a second, James, with the general manager. So, we, as you may recall, we purchased the DMT parking lot from Caltrans for a very good deal. That parking lot is horrific in its condition. So any smooth transition in the seniors that have to actually get from there all the way across the front of the DMT to the senior center. The senior center lot, when we redid the senior center, we have designated senior parking there, but the slope is too great for a whole parking lot full of ADA spaces, which has been kind of contentious. The regrading and bringing one end of that parking lot up like 1.5 feet next to the creek is pretty tricky. So the goal was fix the DMT, fix the pathway to the senior center from that DMT parking lot for people all abilities. And then across the street, I know you're all very familiar with the gravel parking lot. Well, with the trail that was completed with the housing project there from from A Street through that trail that runs next to the riparian corridor, we'll be able to pave that and connect it. So the real purpose of all of this is there's just some horrible asphalt there. We went to Hillcrest Knolls to meet the young man who advocated for the new basketball court up there, that we used some county impact fees to develop it. And when we went up there and I parked, we had done some pathway work and some basketball work, and sometimes we don't see the whole picture, but when you walk up and get out of that into that parking lot in particular, and then hit a nice new path, because those paths were swayed by tree roots and everything, huge problems. We decided that we should probably try to just fix that. It's 6 spaces with a space for disabled people to park, so we thought we'd try to fix that too. So
Thank you very much. Any questions from my colleagues? Yeah, go ahead, Director Rosen.
Great. So thanks, Brian. I appreciate the team, the fact that we need somebody to help with the design project, because as I talked to Brian beforehand, this one that we have here, when you walk next to the dirt lot in front of the DMT, there isn't an easy contiguous path to go there. I mean, there's a big pampas grass weed growing right there. And then there's a storm drain. So I don't know how they're gonna do this. And so this is why you need the professionals to do this,
That's right.
because there's not the space to do both, and you've got to figure something out, and it's
And it's all done in the public right of way, and
Exactly.
The jurisdiction's gonna have some opinions on this matter.
the county is gonna be, yes.
Yeah, so, and then
So-
all this design will come back to you, and we'll do a full explanation about it in the very near future.
So I'm thankful that you're having some help with this. So yes. Thanks.
And we have the Japanese Garden, the Douglas Morrison Theater, and the Senior Center all in this same
Yeah.
place. So,
Japanese garden.
okay, if there's no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move. Seconded.
Director Andrade, seconded by Director Rosen. Anything further on the item? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. And
The screen just went off.
Motion passes unanimously with 5 ayes.
thank you very much. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for sticking around, Brian.
Thank you for the work. All right, our second item is the Stonebray Soccer Fields.
Good evening, Honorable Board. Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. So this evening, staff is requesting that the board approve a task order with Verde Design for the Stonebray Soccer Field renovation project. The board had previously approved funding for this project on February 17th. We have since met with HUSD staff at the site to review the conditions with Verde Design. They then prepared the proposal that is attached to the staff report. Verde Design is one of the on-call landscape architects, but they are uniquely suited to this project because they do work with school districts. They have worked with HOST before. They work with the Division of the State Architect, and they're familiar with procuring the field turf synthetic soccer field product through CMAS, which is a joint purchasing authority. So they have all this, they have the entire skill set needed for this particular project. So with that, staff is recommending that the Board of Directors by motion approve a task order with Verdi Design for the Stonebray Soccer Fields renovation project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or discussion? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
Can we have a recreation supervisor and we'll tell you a couple things about that field we were talking about
Sure.
today and why this is kind of urgent? Thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead. What's going on, Dean?
Sure, Honorable Board Senior Recreation Supervisor Noel Munivez in place of Director Lee Bird. It hasn't been renovated in quite some time. You know, we just got a work order for a large hole. So this is timely to have this on the board agenda tonight. And to kind of
You want to
expand
talk
upon.
a little bit about how the timing of Castro Valley and
Yeah, the timing of the completion of the Castro Valley, those fields will allow that soccer group to then, you know, utilize those fields and open up some spaces for these fields, these groups that will be impacted by this closure.
So to clarify, so what's happening is when Stonebray shuts down, the people that are using Stonebray will transfer over to the new Canyon Fields.
Yeah,
So they're gonna, it'll be somewhat seamless.
exactly. That's the thought.
Excellent.
I mean, so I don't think it's a secret that we're a couple large soccer fields away from our district goal in the master plan. The development, giving Castro Valley Unified $7.5 million to develop the fields at Canyon Middle School, expands 4 fields, 1,400 kids playing Castro Valley Soccer Club right now are playing on Stonebray, Olive Reed Alden, out at Edendale, over at San Lorenzo, and for me personally, the idea of this carbon footprint of people driving from Castro Valley to Olive Reed Alden every day at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock for soccer practice. That's part of why we recommended helping the school district fund those fields, trying to get Castro Valley soccer to be able to play in Castro Valley. Those fields were kind of decimated. So it'll take them back there. Those should be done in time. It'll take them back there. We'll be able to start renovating the other 2, hopefully during the summer with not a lot of impact into September, October for the school year. Get those done. I was reminded today by Noel Tennyson Park that turf we put in the Bermuda is going to be ready to be played on. We have talked about the renovation of Weeks Park, and a soccer field would fit in the middle of that park, which would be a great activation of that space. So we are literally about 6 months away from being in soccer heaven in regard to the number of fields, the groups that need them, after we do the next item. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So with that, we will, I will entertain a motion for this item. Yes, Director Hodges, would you like to make a motion on this soccer field item?
I sure would.
Do you want to
Coach.
turn your mic on?
Yeah,
Yes, Coach?
Coach and teacher there.
Go ahead.
It's a long time coming, but I really appreciate the fact that it's gonna make a lot of people I know very happy.
That is our business. Okay. Thank you. I will accept that motion. And do we have a second to approve the
I'll
item?
second.
Okay. Thank you, Director Hatcher. So moved by Director Hodges and seconded by Director Hatcher on as presented on the item.
Motion carries unanimously, 5 ayes.
Thank you. And then we have a secondary similar item as our last decision item of the evening.
Thank you. Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. So yes, this is a similar item. This is approval of a task order with Verdi Design for the Edendale Middle School soccer field renovation. Similarly, the board approved funding for this in January of 2026. We met on site with Verdi Design and San Lorenzo Unified School District staff to scope the project. Subsequently, Verdi provided a proposal. It provided for the soccer field replacement, which HARD has committed to replace, but it's also going to investigate on San Lorenzo's behalf what it might cost to renovate the running track that surrounds the park as well. And then San Lorenzo can decide whether they want to move forward with that or not. And again, this will be done through a CMAS contract, and it needs DSA approval, and Verdi Design is uniquely qualified to work on this project. So with that, staff recommends that the Board of Directors by motion approve a task order with Verdi Design for the Edendale soccer field renovation project.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll go back to our soccer coach. Director Hodges, would you like to move this item as well?
Yes, I'd like to, also, oops,
You're on.
am I?
Yeah.
I guess. Thank you. This will also help in in the area that was spoken about earlier in Castro Valley and
Ashland.
and the Ashland area. So boy, we're going to be full of fields before we know it, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. I will accept that as a motion as presented. And do I have a second?
So moved.
Thank you. Seconded by Director Rosen on the item.
Motion carries unanimously, 5 ayes.
Thank you. Okay, we go to our board reports and staff reports before we close out the meeting. So I will start with Director Rosen.
Great. Sorry, I needed a moment. So I went to along with most of us, went to the San Lorenzo Community Center refresh grand opening event that was amazing. Weather was great. I saw the drawings and I saw the images of how that place was supposed to come out, but when you're in there and you see the light and you actually feel it, it's not a cave anymore. It's great. It actually looks out on the park. You actually get to appreciate the park. It's kind of like the capstone to the park that's there. I was unaware of the solar cells that are not only going to supply energy, but they're actually supplying shade in the parking lot. So very well done. Great job, team, and great party. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for bringing out a couple other organizations with the ice and Yay had her cream puffs. So that was good. I went to the inclusion. That was my first inclusion working group meeting, and I learned a lot. And I actually got to hear a lot of perspectives on things. It was primarily us, but there were a couple community members, including 2 parents. So that was good. And I went to the Virgil Street community meeting about Laurel School and about what to do on that. I guess that'd be the north side field. Is that right? Yeah. And that was really good. Actually hearing the public and actually seeing the little dots being put out and seeing how they wanted to use everything and some ideas and see how some of them conflicted and everything. I thought it was good. I mean, it's another great outreach that we do. So I look forward to more of those. So thanks.
Director Hatcher.
Attended the Alameda County Special Districts Association dinner. It's also a nice way to kind of chat with our colleagues and talk about special districts and all of our methods and needs and wants. And so it's always great to see a pretty good packed room for that. I do want to give just a recognition. I was unable to attend, but there was we have our HARD Foundation involved with the Ninja competition. We have our director, Steve Love, as well as one of our park maintenance folks in there, Carlo, and who they both survived and did okay. I think Carlo even got second place, and I think Steve just said he survived. So it's a kind of a new form of recreation that I I love to continue to hear more of how they're doing and what they're doing. So yeah, you know, the San Lorenzo Park opening, and we missed you, and I did my best to talk about that park, because that's the park that I grew up in from zero on. So it's very dear to my heart, and to say that's a $40 million park for not the community of San Lorenzo only. That is a, you know, it's a almost a regional draw now with the size of that park, and for what's next door and opportunities we also have there, and just excited to have been a part of that. And thank you, staff, for again making one of our park openings a gala event that the community well appreciated. There's a lot of great comments, you know, throughout the day, and then the partnerships involved in that, and the folks that were there. So I did also attend the Laurel School, the Vigil Properties open house there, and again, it's you know, we do have a process, and we, you know, like to be able to have the community be able to weigh in these projects, and be able to talk to the folks in that community and listen to what they need, and we understand what the enormity of that project is for, you know, closing the gaps of open space. So it's good there. Um, the Kennedy Easter egg hunt, I mean, that's just, I hate to say that it's grown more and more each year is probably an understatement, because it's just massive. You know, how many folks packed into that park, and the skill of our staff navigating that large of an opportunity is pretty intense and wonderful. How well it, you know, comes off, and I was very excited to see the first thing I showed up, and Noel graciously showed me a picture of a bunny rabbit drawn in chalk on our field with the new machine that we had, and I'm like, I got to go check that out. And so it was, you push the button that draws a bunny. So it pretty impressive. Again, thank you to staff, because it's an enormous undertaking to be able to address that many issues in that many people that quickly, and especially that age group. So well done, well attended. I did jump over to the Meek Estate also, just to take a look at their Easter egg hunt there, and the, you know, the park looks great. It was really great to see the fountain working and flowing. It's just such a highlight of that park. So everything looked rather well. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. And thank you for jumping in um, at the ribbon cutting. Director Andrade.
Okay, well, I attended every one of those events and I have not much to add to that, except I will say that at the San Lorenzo Park, at the San Lorenzo opening, the people were wowed by the community space, the community room. And a lot of people were asking me about how to rent that, you know, like it was because all of a sudden it's an attractive location with a beautiful view. And so I think you're going to find it to be really, really popular, and it's really great. And I have nothing else to say. I'm kind of looking forward to the Virgil, how that's going to work out, and other parks that are happening. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Hodges.
Okay, ditto. No. San Lorenzo Community Center was just exciting to see a lot of my friends and that have played soccer there for the last 30 years. And it was also exciting to just go into the new building, and they did really just, I can't think of the right word that come to it, but it's another exciting thing that everybody needs to go over and see it, instead of listening to me stumble over the description. And then Laurel Common Open House was really well attended, and walking around there, there's so much that can be done there. So hopefully we'll start work soon. And of course, Kennedy Park. I wish I had a horse in the race there for the bonnet, but kids grow up, darn it. And that's it, folks.
All right. Thank you. General Manager. I don't have anything.
President Lamnon, Honorable Board of Directors, James Wheeler. So kind of a lot going on. It's funny you mentioned Laurel School. I feel like if you ever saw that movie, We Bought a Zoo, Well, we bought a school, another school actually. And when the Montessori school leaves, of course, we'll be able to develop the rest of it in a community center and what we're looking for. But right now, starting on that north end, it's very exciting to see that going. Some of us are going to Sacramento for Ledge Days tomorrow to try to work on some of these bills. It's pretty good. I'm told it's good that they only introduced 1,800 bills before the deadline. It's down from 3,000 last year. But the big focus right now, AI in the workplace, replacing employees. There's a lot of labor stuff they're going to be talking about up there. It's one of the big moves. And then of course, impact fees, build more housing, but the poor developers can't afford impact fees for parks and services for people that move in there. And so, as you know, quality of life is part of our mission statement. So we'll be working on some of that, and then just some other crazy legislation around AEDs in every single sports facility that people use. The onus is on youth sport groups right now to have the right equipment, and they want to basically make us put AEDs in 62 public parks if we had to, at about $3,000 a piece and insecurable. So there's a lot of great stuff to go up there and talk about. We'll be on Saturday. We'll be at the new challenge course, ropes course at Rowell Ranch with the Hayward Youth Commission and representatives from the school district. We don't know if any of RFBP'd. Understand the mayor will be there. Thank you to those of you that have RFBP'd. We're going to kind of celebrate the year that the Youth Commission spent and all the work they did, and try to get some photos of the challenge course to start promoting it for youth and camps and programs to come out and build skills. Have one-on-ones with all of you next week. Volunteer brunch on the 18th. I don't know. I don't want to steal your thunder, but the volunteer brunch will be on the 18th for all of our volunteers to recognize them. Standing committees, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. They'll be moving up a week. So you're aware it'll be the same. It'll be right after that board meeting. It's going to be a long week of meetings for you. I apologize. The Hayward Local Agencies Committee will be meeting on the 23rd. That meeting was confirmed. And I just want to call out the egg hunt and the event at Kennedy. I've watched that for 7 years now, and it was incredible. So Chaz, the special event coordinator for recreation, has really come into his own the last couple of events, and it felt really good. We estimate that there was almost 1,200 people there, but we'll use our Placer AI. We'll have Thomas geofence it tomorrow and get a good idea of who came to the event, what they did before and after the event. My only comment would be parking needs to really be looked at. The lot was full at 10:15, people looking to park. The egg hunt started. So I believe we'll be working with the city to try to use the undeveloped portion of SkyWest right there and maybe get we still have the elephant tram that we use in the parade and stuff in Castroville. We try to run people back and forth to try to get the parking, encourage people to get there earlier. But it was crazy, off the hook cool. I wish I had a way to show you the picture of the Easter bunny that was painted on the lawn. I got up on a table. It's a pretty neat picture. So I think that's all, and I'll pass it on to Noel if you have event stuff or anything.
Nothing to add other than the ropes course opening. Thank you all for your attendance. The tiny robot is what paints those logos and helped with the setup for the egg hunt. So it's very successful. Lines, booths, and logos, and soccer fields, and baseball. Any sport you could think of, there's a template for that.
We look forward to using it at the Rowell Ranch for the rodeos. They just kind of lead them in. They park everywhere in the field, and they're parking on the street. And I believe if we use this to stripe these spots, we'll be able to get a lot of that mess on that poor road whenever there's one of the 4 or 5 rodeos a year kind of inside. So made perfect circles, which were staked for perfect little round egg places. And then the best part was it made another circle about 3 feet back from that around. And so the kids were in the middle of those 2 lines, and the parents were told to stay back, which if you've ever been to an egg hunt, they're very parent oriented too. That's all I'll say.
We have an egg-shaped pattern that we can do?
It'll make anything. We can put the hard logo into the software and it'll print a hard logo anywhere on a
Cool.
field. But the main reason we bought it is stripe a soccer field. So you go out to San Lorenzo where there's room for 4 under 12 soccer fields. You set in the corner, hit a button, and it stripe all of them right next to each other. So super efficient, lining fields, saving a ton of staff time lining fields and spraying. And so it's an investment that I think when I calculate out, probably pay for itself in a year easily just for sports.
And to add to that, Director of Parks and Maintenance, Dwayne Taylor's here. From a curb appeal, as far as sports fields and some of these things that we can do with this machine, it's extensive and it's just going to be unique. I think the public's really going to embrace it.
Good evening again, Honorable Board. Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. So again, thank you for attending the Laurel Community Meeting that was held a couple of weekends ago. We collected a lot of good input from the neighbors, got to explain that this is kind of a structured deal and that only a very small portion is coming to them soon. We will be bringing a summary of those results and some preliminary concept ideas to the board in a study session on April 20th. And then the next community meeting for that is May 2nd, again in the park. Question?
I just wanted to point out, I've also seen online links to comment on it online.
And their survey is out as well.
Exactly. So it's good outreach. Thanks.
Also, Hayward Plunge is about midway through and they're taking the scaffolding down. They're done with the ceiling. They're done with the lights. The next step in that is the waterproofing. That's still on schedule to be completed this summer. Mount Eden and Ashland East 14th Street are also both under construction and doing well. And then Bay Trees is going to wrap up in the next couple of weeks. So the lower parking lot, the new ADA pathways and the upper parking lot will be complete. I had one more thing. We've been invited to, or have approval to proceed to the next step for the Ocean Protection Council Sea Level Rise Grant for the Hayward Shoreline Interpreter Center. That grant is due in the first week of June. We will come to the board for your approval to submit for that grant. And then the last item is Bidwell is out for rebid, and those bids will come in the first week of May.
Good evening, Director Lamnin and honorable members of the board. Dwayne Taylor, Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director. So I have 3 updates for you tonight. First one is last Thursday, we removed the fuel tank at Sky West. We're really happy about that. That was it was quite the permitting process, but then more specifically, just finding the right mix of equipment to remove the tank. So it ended up being an 18-ton forklift that removed it. I have some videos I can share you if you want to see, but it was really impressive. I'm really happy with moving that forward. The second thing is myself and Gary Zhao, our maintenance and construction supervisor, we went to Sun Gallery to review the electrical conditions on the site. And so we've identified quite a few areas that we're gonna, make some repairs to the electrical and upgrade some of the existing infrastructure. So we're collaborating on a date and time we can get in. It's gonna be based around their art schedule, but we are working on that, and I wanted to share that. And then the last thing is, last Tuesday, myself, our 4 grounds foremen, our parks supervisor, and our turf and water supervisor, we demoed a slope mower. So the slope mower is a piece of equipment that works autonomously, and it's controlled by a human with what looks like a controller you would use on a video game console. And so we were thinking that we could potentially utilize this to replace some of the areas we utilize goats. So right now we're looking at what that return on investment would be. And there's essentially 5 or 6 sites we have goats where we could utilize this equipment. So we wouldn't be replacing any workers' jobs. We'd be replacing how we utilize goats. And so we're still kind of working through this, but the staff really received it well. And, we were happy with the demo.
If you recall, the cost of goats has gone from $40,000 a year to $160,000 a year. the shepherds are required to get paid 24/7 now because they're on site with the goats even when they're asleep. So we're just looking for ways to quit getting punched with higher fees. It's
No, you're right. All right.
That's it. Good evening.
Good evening, honorable board members. Finance is still busy looking for all the money that they keep spending. So we are working on the budgets.
He's kidding. All these things have been budgeted for and approved by you. Thank you.
Yeah, there's no couch cushions at at Hard.
Good evening, President Lamnin, Honorable Board of Directors. All of the fund dates that they've shared will be coming through to you in an email. As a reminder, we will be doing the groundbreaking on next Tuesday at 4 o'clock for La Vista. I will send you some details. Again, I'll update your calendar invite with the details for that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
President Lamnin, Honorable Board, this evening we're going to adjourn in honor of the memory of Joseph Lamnin. I have the honor of reading this. Joseph Lamnin served the Hayward area for 20 years of his lifelong career as a vocational counselor. Through the Department of Rehabilitation in California and elsewhere, he unlocked opportunities for individuals with disabilities to secure employment, building confidence and independence. He was known for his creative, person-centered approach that not only aided individual clients, but also built a robust network that inspired and enabled everyone involved. Joseph was keenly aware that silly is just as important as sincere. In fact, finding the funny in a situation can make the serious work more possible, and that's what he strived for. He brought his humor and compassion to volunteer efforts in the community, including student support efforts and addressing homelessness. He will be remembered for his integrity, generosity, and enduring belief in the dignity and potential of every person.
Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned. Tell me about it.
Thank you.